Greetings, my brother knights. I hope this message finds you well. Lent is going to be starting soon, about 2 weeks on February 22nd with Ash Wednesday. And I wanted to briefly share with you an easy way to pray. Prayer is one practice we focus on during Lent. It's something we can always mature in, but there's something called the Pirate Prayer. It's an acronym. It's ARRR. It stands for acknowledge, relate, receive, and respond. And praying like a pirate, if you will, using this acronym, is helpful if you're struggling to find the right words, if you will, or you're not quite sure how to talk to God. But more than a method, it really just helps you be honest, to share with God what's on your heart. God who's always present to us, all we have to do is call on him. So the first A of the acronym of R is to acknowledge, meaning to simply be aware, like what's going on within you. Prayer is a relationship, and as we grow in any relationship of intimacy, we have to just be aware what's going on in our lives. As we become more aware of what's going on within us, as I notice, see, name, and attend to, and become aware of my thoughts, feelings, and desires that are moving in my heart, then I can share those with God. But if I'm not aware, what am I going to share, right? So what's going on within you? Don't analyze, don't critique, don't judge or filter what's going on. What's happening? Just be honest. Maybe something's good, maybe it's bad, maybe it's ugly, right? But what's there? What are you thinking about? What do you feel? What do you desire? The next part of the acronym R is relate. Simply tell Jesus, tell God everything that's going on in your heart, the good, bad, and the ugly. So when we honestly share with God what's happening in our lives, our thoughts, our feelings, our desires, we become open to receiving his response. Right? Nothing's too silly to share with God. Nothing's too unimportant. In fact, he already knows. But when I tell him, even if I've told him the same thing 1,000,000 times, I open my heart to receiving his grace, his loving caress and response. So R, to receive. So first acknowledge, R was to relate, and then this third R, to receive from God, right? After I become aware of what's going on in my life, take an honest inventory. After I share these things, I relate them to God. Then, as I mentioned, I open my heart to receiving a response from God. Now, I'm not in control of that, right? I'm not in control of saying, all right, God, I became aware, I related. Now, like putting coins into a vending machine and you get the pop or the soda or the snack. But once I am aware and once I relate and I'm open to receiving, God always responds. Sometimes it's really clear, sometimes it's not so clear. But I invite you, maybe as you start praying like this, just to be open, just to trust. Sometimes you even open your hands. Maybe God will speak to you in a scripture verse, or maybe it's just a gentle thought or a feeling. Maybe it's just you don't hear anything. That's okay. God speaks even in silence and loves us when we rest with him there. Sometimes you can know something's from God when it's brief, it's gentle, it's deep, and it's true. Right? Sometimes it's just a brief thought, or just something very gentle, but it can be very profound, and it's also true. The final R is just responding to the gifts we received. Whenever we commit to having time in prayer, whether you receive something profound or whether you haven't, it's very appropriate to thank God just for that time. Maybe he's given you some concrete steps to make in your life, a decision, right? But just continue to ask God to guide you in all that you do. Take care, and God bless. Viva Jesus.